Today we're having an action-packed day. We're gonna whitewater raft on the most epic rapids in the country, only accessible 3 times a year. And then we're gonna mountain bike the rest of the way down the river.
This morning we're heading to the Tongariro River Rafting base in Turangi because today we're going to have a dual athlon of adventure with these guys. First we're going to be whitewater rafting on a section of the Tongariro River which is only accessible 3 times a year, and after that we're going to be doing some mountain biking.
After getting all our gears, we are jumping in the van and making our way toward Access 14 where our tour starts today. And oh my god, it is so busy! Access 14 is actually where the dam releases, and it only releases a few days a year, and that's when every single locals jump on their kayaks, every single activity group around the area is actually jumping in a raft, and everybody wants to make the most of this section of the river.
Our guide Nick is teaching us some paddle commands on dry land first, even before we're getting into the water, because as soon as our raft hits the water, we are straight into the rapids. That just goes to show that this part of the Tongariro River is definitely not for the light-hearted. Once we reach a quiet section in an eddy, we get the time to practice some more serious paddle commands. We're going to be needing to lean left and right so we can actually maneuver the boat around all the boulders that we're likely to encounter on this section of the river. Practicing these paddle commands is absolutely essential for us to get down this section of the Tongariro River, and we all have to work very well as a team, and that's what whitewater rafting is all about. It is definitely a proactive adventure activity. You really need to be switched on and involved, and especially when doing a grade 4 section of the river like this one. Luckily, we have an awesome team in our raft. At the back we have our guide called Nick, and then we have a family who've come up from Palmerston North especially for this section of the river, which is open only 3 times a year, if we didn't mention that already. And then up front we have us, Robin and Laura.
Laura is so excited about this river that she feels the need to actually mention our names to you guys. Anyway, let's talk about this river. It's a bit more interesting. This river is actually rather a shallow river. Actually, the whole river is not that shallow, but this section of it is. It's boulder filled and it makes it for a really gnarly ride. Plus, this whole section of the river is actually quite full on. There is not that many spots where you can actually stop and rest. It's all along quite whitewater rafting. There is not that many eddy where we can actually relax and catch our breath. Now, as we mentioned previously, this part of the river is not accessible all year round. So if you guys want to do this section of the Tongariro River, you're going to want to aim to be around the area between February, April or September, and only for a few days. So if you guys want to know when exactly you can do this section of the river, the best thing to do is to actually go on the Tongariro River Rafting website, where they publish the date as soon as they know when it opens. So if you guys want to bag yourself a trip into one of the most gnarly whitewater rafting experience in New Zealand, you also need to book a little bit early because the spaces are limited. For example, today there is only 2 of our raft, and that's about like 16 people only, so you need to actually make sure you get your spot.
We're so glad that we actually managed to make it into Turangi exactly for the right time of year to make this whitewater rafting trip. Throughout the whole way we just have massive grins on our faces, and every second we're getting so splashed by the water, which is actually really cold. Luckily we are fully equipped though with all the wetsuit gears, the splash jackets, the life jackets, the helmets, even a fleece jacket layer underneath, so we are pretty toasty. And as you can see, we are proper working out the full way. This whitewater rafting trip is a grade 4 rafting trip, meaning that it is almost the highest grade you can get when doing commercial whitewater rafting in New Zealand. Grades go from 1 being the easiest to 5 being the hardest, and the 4 is definitely 1 for the more adventurous type. However, if you guys aren't staying in Turangi, you can actually do this trip from Taupo as well. The guys at Tongariro River Rafting offer free shuttles both from the Taupo area and around the Turangi area, so that's well worth considering. Anyway, back to the Tongariro River. The river itself is actually famous for quite a few things, and one of those things being trout fishing. If you go into Turangi, you'll see that there's loads of trout fishing signs everywhere, and it is probably one of the best places to go and try that sport in New Zealand as well, so check it out.
But there is much more than just trout fishing to do in Turangi. It's actually a really awesome adventurous town. There is a ton of hikes, there is some awesome mountain biking tracks, and obviously there is this epic whitewater rafting. And speaking of mountain biking, we actually are going to be doing that this afternoon, because yes, whitewater rafting on an epic scale like this one is just not enough for us. We want a mountain bike as well. But getting back to our adventure right now, our guide is actually pretty epic. The way he's telling us about every single rapids before they happen is so insightful. We know exactly what we're gonna need to do and what is going to happen to the boat before every single one of the rapids, making it super easy for us to maneuver our way through it and making it down the river super safely. And this comes from the fact that this guide is super experienced. He has been with the company for over 20 years and he knows this part of the river like his back pocket. To be quite honest, by the end of the tour we are pretty knackered. Whitewater rafting is actually a pretty exhausting sport. It works really hard on the arms, but as we are getting off the boat, the workout is not finished. We now have to carry our boat all the way back toward the car park. But working as a team, we are actually making it through the dense and luxuriant New Zealand bush, making our way through toward the car park, where we're actually gonna have a quick sneak peek at where we're gonna be mountain biking this afternoon. Don't miss it! Next, on day 308, part 2, we are taking you to Turangi Gorge, which is an amazing place to mountain bike around the Turangi area. This is the continuation of our awesome adventurous day. After spending the whole morning whitewater rafting, we are now mountain biking. How epic is that? If you don't want to miss anything of New Zealand's biggest gap here, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now so you get a notification for every single one of our new adventures.
Okay. Stop it, Robin. Stop it! Stop it, Robin! Go away!